Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. How are you today? I hope you are fine. Let me introduce myself. My name is Gilang Pramudias and I'm from Group 3. And we will present about a scientific article which the article is entitled Paradigm of Islamic Education in the Future. The integration of Islamic boarding school and favorite school. And members of our groups are Laili Rahmadhani, Rohma Kubro, Muhammad Fadli, and me, Gilang Pramudias. Well, just go to the material about a scientific article that will be presented by our group. Let's enjoy it.
Historically, Islamic education in Indonesia, which is still exists and consistent with cultural local, is Islamic boarding school, yet in general. The weakness of it is lack of saying the global knowledge in the future. Islamic boarding school is more threatening or often called beyond education. Even though the appreciation of is it not necessarily corrected. Yes, this statement is able to be a reflection that Islamic boarding school is urgent to revival in answering the demand of the era. The discourse above is relevant and urgent to do introspection, reflection, prospection, and projection formulating the Islamic educational system. Islamic boarding school is faced by the acceleration of science and technology, thus are appropriately able to adapt and contribute the modern development. Besides, it has to maintain its own characterization as the basis of spiritual moral and its function in constructing the religious society. Islamic boarding school in the future in urgent to reformulate the system being the best choice in facing the globalization era. Accelerative change by the development of scientific demand is adapting and contributing system. This change is appearing the combination of Islam moral tradition and developed culture so that the education will be integrative. Thus, the demand of collaboration of Islamic boarding school with favorite school is a choice on synergizing the advantage and reducing the weakness.
Okay, next we have literature review, section 1, Islamic boarding school. First of all, definition of Islamic boarding school. We have Abdullah described that in every varieties, Islamic boarding school is a seedbed experience and also spreading Islamic knowledge. And second, Zuhri defines Islamic boarding school is a system of tafakuh fit din, which is usually backing up by some components, either software nor hardware, supporting the existence of Islamic boarding school as a system such as Kiai Santri tradition of reciting the Holy Quran, guardian psalm, mosque, and the classroom place for staying in the Islamic boarding school. As an institution of tafakuh fit din, this function to keep, develop, report, and conserve the Islamic religion, and of course it want to produce the Islamic religious teacher. And the third one, Bukhari reminds that Islamic boarding school is a part of internal structure of Islamic education in Indonesia, conducted traditionally Islam as the way of living. The lifestyle in Islamic boarding school seems different with the environment such as simplicity life, leadership charisma, santris obedient, diligence of understanding, the classical verse, togetherness, sincerity, and etc. After all that, so we got that the Islamic boarding school is educational institution which is based on Islamic principles. Next, characteristic and philosophy in Islamic boarding school. Imam Bawani described the characteristic in the system and his philosophy. Those characters are: philosophy Islamic boarding school is traditionally characterizing Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaah. And Islamic boarding school curriculum is only about Islamic knowledge. And Islamic boarding school using a classical teaching method, also simplistic the classical facilities. And the environment of Islamic boarding school is mostly in the village, and the relation between Kiai and Santri is forming the intellectual dialogue and kinship. Next, the implications of Islamic boarding school. Sirat said that the Islamic boarding school built in the educational system combined by history of archipelago. It has produced some good souls to ascertain the standardization of morals. These souls will be the characters which never be built by other educational system as a whole. Islamic boarding school souls implicates in 5 souls: sincerity, simplicity but prominent, ukhwah Islamiyah, which is democratic, independent, and free to choose alternative way of life, and decide the ambition seriously and optimistically to face problem of life based on Islamic moral. Next, Islamic boarding school subject and learning methods. Islamic boarding school subject contain Arabic language as a tool of science and fiqh usul, the law of Allah, tafsir, hadith, adab, attitude, tasawwuf, and tarikh. Series of the subject exists in every single book level, which is containing 2 vision of education. Those are: first, moral vision. It is teaching the attitude and akhlakul karimah, and second is intellectual vision. It is improving the ability of thinking. Ghazali defined teaching method in Islamic boarding school consists the system. Those are traditional system which have sorongan, wetonan, and bandongan. Sorongan is the educational system which is every santri reciting Quran in front of ustad and kiai. And wetonan is the educational system which kiai reciting the Quran to the santri, followed and seen by santri. And bandongan is the combination of 2 methods above. And in modern system, it has classical system, course system, and training system. Next, the implementation of Islamic boarding school system. The classification of Islamic boarding school is a reflection on responding the dynamic of era and dialectic of science and technology acceleration. One unique thing that is still maintaining the expanding the characters through Islamic education culture in the Islamic boarding school environment. In fact, the implementation of educational system and teaching at the Islamic boarding school is now classified in 3 forms. First, it is an educational institution and Islamic teaching generally given classically, which the kiai teach santri based on Arabic verse or familiar ulama since the middle era, while every santri is usually staying in the cottage or dormitory of Islamic boarding school. And second of form is it is educational system and Islamic teaching basically similar with the Islamic boarding school above. Yet every santri has not provided a cottage, but they live in residence around it. And the last one, nowadays it is the group institution between cottage and Islamic school giving education and Islamic teaching by using bandongan, sorongan, and wetonan system. Every santri is provided a cottage or even santri kalongan, which in modern education term fulfill the criteria of the informal education and also celebrate the formal education like madrasah until favorite school in every grade and various department based on their interests. Next is the main priorities of Islamic public school. Global character in education of Islamic boarding school is very famous with vis between power and weakness of Islamic education, which comes from society and sometimes being orthodoxy, so that management of Islamic education should dominate the four priorities. Those are quality development, innovation of creativity development, networking the corporation, and realization of regional autonomy. The second section of literature review is favorite school. Favorite school. The society put their hope to the favorite school to educate an innovative and competitive generation. The favorite school got the trust from societies to entrust their children without thinking how much the payment will be spent. This reality makes the favorite school being a good business out of the particular mission of school built by the private. Here are some criteria of favorite school according to the research. First, the criteria of favorite school by Danim. The indicators of favorite school portraying in the effective prototype of school. The criteria of effective school based on Danim can be seen as follows. First is improving the standardization of working and clear about the goal of student and to know and work for something. And the second, stimulate the activity in multicultural understanding, gender equality, and improving the learning process based on the potency standard had by the student. And next, the expectancy of student to take the responsibility in studying and behavior. And next, having an instrument of evaluation and assessment of student achievement regarding student capability, deciding the meaningful feedback for student, family, staff, and educational environment, and using the learning method based on educational research and voice of professional practice. And the sixth, organizing school and class to create the environment supporting the learning process. And seven, making the democratic decision and accountability for students' success and satisfaction of user. And the eighth, creating the comfortable, respect, and accommodate the environment effectively. And having the high wishes to all staffs to improve their capability in terms of professionalism and capability of practice. And next, putting the family in helping students to achieve their success actively. And last but not least, cooperating with societies and other people to support students and their family. Next, we have criteria of favorite school from Aris Munandar. The characterization of effective school are climate and school culture, the higher wishes to get achievement, the observation toward the improvement of student, the leadership of headmaster, the involvement of parents in school activities, freedom, responsibility, and involvement of student in the school, the reward and incentive, and the implementation of curriculum. And the third one, the criteria of favorite school, is by Arcaro. Jerome S. Arcaro explained that the model of favorite school should be supported by 5 pillars. Those are focusing on the user, the involvement of all members as a whole, doing measurement, commitment on the change, completing it continuously. Then the characteristics of favorite school are focusing on customer, whether to the internal or even external stakeholder. The total involvement, every people should participate in participation of mute. And measurement, measure the effectivity to effort in fulfilling the standard. And commitment, every supervisor and school board must have commitment on the mute. And the last, the continued revision, preparing process continuously and make necessary revision.
And the next session is the methodology. The method of this research is qualitative research. This research work in Parepare City with sample excellent school as MAN 5 Parepare and Madrasah Aliyah Pondok Pesantren Al-Badar. The characteristic of this research is comparative study. The second unit, education, with take over balance system education and learning, overbalance the second unit education with integration and formula of construction educational system is relevant with social dynamic and acceleration science. Energy source is headmaster, document of teacher, triangulation, and focus group discussion for getting expert judgment education field.
Graduated students in the future are facing several of awful obstacles. Those are global acceleration implicating on the competitive, individualism, secularism, materialism, etc. In an effort to deal with these obstacles, schools are expected to take part as a place for developing the potential of students. Preparing graduates who are able to perform and survive in the era of globalization is one of the goals expected to be present through school. Umar Juoro assesses that it is urgent to anticipate the change of competition decided by the quality of human research and the ability of technology. The quality of education can be seen by its indicator, which it can produce graduate students having the competitive human research and be able to use technology. Education has to be able to produce good human intellectually, morally, master on science and technology, and having a high commitment in every social pattern. The paradigms of Islamic educational system are developing the Islamic education by using multidisciplinary approach and interdisciplinary approach. Multidisciplinary approach is a form of development of scientific knowledge in every single aspect, and then interdisciplinary approach is intensifying the scientific knowledge in one cluster.
Islamic boarding school. Boarding school is model of educational system integrating boarding school and public school system. The combination of those education models is being an ancestor of the appearance of the new Islamic education, which is representing Islamic, scientific, and technology tradition. The graduated students are wished getting the good professions and global knowledge.
Preparation to face the future. There are several aspects that we must pay attention to. They are 1. Potential reading toward life they faced in. 2. Potential answer toward problems that appear. 3. Individual integration or abolishing the split of personality. 4. The ability of spreading the Islamic mission. 5. Perceptional integration or abolishing the dichotomy of perception. 6. Cosmopolitan integration. 7. The ability of keeping the nature. And the last is science input, technology, and methodology. Collaboration of two characteristics of education model. It's about Islamic boarding school and favorite school. Islamic boarding school is a place to create religious values and students' morality as the basis of spiritual and emotional question. And favorite school is a place to develop science and technology as the basis of intellectual and vocational question. The curriculum being united, Islam, science, and technology will give solution of the superior generation, establishment, and having civility. Cultural research in the favorite school gives a positive value of scientific tradition in Islamic boarding school, so that it will be more adaptive and functional of Islamic science with the social life dynamic and technology. The description of future school of Islamic is being an ancestor of the appearance of Islamic civilization in the globalization era.
Islamic as a universal religion and relied in every single aspect which is familiar with dogma Islam rahmatan lil alamin. As the religion civilization, Islam has to survive through the relevant system of education with progressing era. The story in Indonesia, education unit as an icon of Islam is Islamic boarding school in assessed as the representative implementation of Islamic science, while it has to interact with science acceleration and technology as the effort of the implementation rahmatan lil alamin. Consequently, favorite school as the science and technology representation are, along with modern education, are going to integrate with the system of traditional Islamic boarding school in order to give a better solution of achieving the goal of Islam. The solution is Islamic boarding school system is still maintained at the academic cultural aspect with purpose creative community aspect at the era of usuliyah, religion, and akhlakul karimah, and then creativity aspect is at the rationalization area and research. The collaboration peculiarities of educational system is being model of Islamic education which has prospect and able to answer the